Haha, you just got roasted. But I've been roasted 4 times already. Hey everyone, I'm Sigi, and I love a lot of different kinds of tea, as it turns out, not just pu'er. Today, I'm here to do something a bit new. I'm here to talk about Yan Cha. Yeah, so tea from the Wuyi region in Fujian. A lot of people know it, a lot of people love it, and I 100% understand why. I'm actually here to bring you a special kind of Yan Cha today, which is a Hong Pao that has been roasted 4 times. Now, Hong Pao in general is probably the most diverse kind of Yan Cha. The reason being that there are different styles of Hong Pao, and the type of processing and roasting they receive can vary a lot. So you can have like a very kind of mild, light, and gentle Hong Pao, and on the other hand, you can have a very kind of strong, intense, highly roasted Hong Pao. And the tea we are talking about today is definitely in the latter category. First off, let me tell you a bit about how this tea kind of came about. So this year, on the nannuoshan Discord, which I highly recommend joining if you haven't yet, because it's not just a place with a lot of very nice people where you can have wonderful conversations about tea, but also a place where you can, let's say, directly influence what kind of things are going to be put on the nannuoshan store. For example, this very high roast Yan Cha is something that I actually specifically requested, something that I said I would like to see on nannuoshan, and well, here it is. This tea is indeed available on the nannuoshan shop. On the US shop, you can get it for $40 for 50 grams. On the EU shop, you can get it for 36 euros for 50 grams. I should also tell you that this is not the first time I had this tea. I first tried it when Gabriele and I visited Gabriele in Switzerland to do sourcing for this year and not sourcing, we tasted all of the stuff that had been sourced before and decided what's gonna go on the shop. Luckily, this was one of the teas that ended up making it to the shop, which I personally am very happy about, because following that initial tasting, I basically picked up 400 grams of this tea. That's how much I liked it. And so I haven't just had this one time, I haven't just had this 5 times. This is, in fact, the tea I drink of the most right now, compared to anything else. Because I really, really like this, and I can't wait to get into this. So I'm gonna finish heating up my water. I'm gonna get this right in here. What I do with this tea is 6 grams for 100 milliliters of water here in the gaiwan, and yeah, we'll see how that goes. So I'm just waiting for this to finish real quick. As I've pointed out before, this tea has been roasted 4 times. It was harvested in 2018, so that's 4 roastings over the course of 4 years. They're all quite strong roastings, hence the kind of depth and roastiness that you will also encounter in the flavor and fragrance of this tea. This tea absolutely, in terms of processing, fits into the so-called zuhuo category of Yan Cha, which translates roughly to ample fire or ample roasting. So not a light roast by any means. And another thing we can kind of glean from this choice of words is that this tea hasn't just been completely kind of roasted to death, but ample roasting in this context also implies that it has received an amount of roasting that is appropriate for this particular kind of tea. So, not too much, but by no means too little. We are talking about a strongly roasted tea here. I'm already getting a lot of aroma. So, this isn't kind of a tea that just smells of roast, so you're not just getting like ash and charcoal or burnt wood or kind of those fragrances. No, you are getting a lot. And a lot of nice stuff as well, especially on the empty pitcher. Yan Cha always has this wonderful empty pitcher smell that's just to die for. There is more roastiness on the lid here, but it still integrates with a bouquet of a bit of wood here and there, a bunch of spices, maybe the odd fruity note poking through. It's a wide array of fragrances that all hit you at once, which is absolutely one of the things I really love about this tea. And I'm not going to waste any time. I'm going to get started on the second steep right away. One thing that I personally want to remark about these zuho or amply roasted teas is that even if their fragrance is really nice, they are not just about fragrance. Their processing is done in a way that also focuses on the texture and the mouthfeel of the tea. Fragrance isn't necessarily the number one most important characteristic, which might maybe seem a bit unusual for some of you Yan Cha drinkers that tend to prefer the more lightly roasted Yan Cha, because those tend to be quite fragrance forward, and that tends to kind of be the highlight along with the usual aspects of Yan Cha that people are looking for, of course. But it is a bit different with highly roasted teas. So what I'm looking for here is not just that wonderful roasty fragrance, this wide bouquet that I described, but also a particular, in my opinion, very addictive mouthfeel. One thing I also want to point out, I also quite like preparing this tea in Yixing teapots, specifically because of that mouthfeel reason. Yixing, compared to Gaiwan, as we've seen in other videos before, tends to emphasize mouthfeel in a tea a bit more. Of course, it also depends on the specific type. But for example, I like to drink this one in Zerni, which definitely helps with the mouthfeel. And yeah. Oh, it's so good. So good. The fragrance, the mouthfeel, everything is just on point. I should also point out that this tea is not a single cultivar, but as it often tends to be the case with Hong Pao, it is a blend of different things. The person who produced this tea blended different cultivars together to achieve a specific result, and at least in my opinion, he definitely succeeded on that front. I think this tea is amazing, honestly. I can't really put it any other way. I feel like it's the perfect kind of tea for me, especially now that autumn is slowly starting to approach. This is something I'm probably gonna start drinking even more of. You have these wonderful fragrances, you have this pleasant kind of almost a little sticky mouthfeel that you get with these high roast teas. And that, I think, further contributes to the impression of a strong and long lasting aftertaste. Like this tea really stays with you after you swallow it. And it coats your mouth so nicely. It gives you this kind of silky, velvety texture and feeling. It even makes you sort of salivate a little bit. And that's just so nice. Yeah. Um, Again, this tea was sourced thanks to the nannuoshan Discord, thanks to us being able to post what kind of things we want to see on nannuoshan in there. Otherwise, maybe this never would have made its way into my cup here. And I'm immensely happy that it did. And I think this kind of approach of letting the customer, which could also be you, the viewer that I'm talking to right here, influence what ends up being sold by the shop, I think is really wonderful. And if you enjoy this video, or you enjoy nannuoshan in general, be it just the shop, be it the Discord, be it the videos we post here on YouTube, anything, please leave a like on this video, write a comment. Have you had this tea before? Let me know. Let me know your impressions, your general preferences when it comes to Yancha. Do you prefer the lighter and more fragrant ones? Do you prefer the higher roasted ones? Let me know in the comments. And of course, don't forget to subscribe to the nannuoshan YouTube channel if you haven't yet. This first steep was absolutely fantastic. I'm about to pour in the second one, so I'm gonna heat up my water again and get set up for the third steep. These steeps don't need to be long either. They can be, of course, but they don't need to be. The texture and mouthfeel is already there regardless. So nice. To be honest, when it comes to my personal tastes and preferences, it's very difficult to find a tea that's as enjoyable as this one while also being comparably affordable, because I have had a few of these, especially Hong Kong style teas with very high roast before, and while those can be a bit cheaper than this one, they are still very enjoyable in terms of texture, mouthfeel, and whatnot. I can definitely feel that there is a difference between those and this, which stands, I'd say, a step above those teas. It's in a similar vein with the amount of roasting it has, but it presents a more kind of diverse or more exciting profile overall. It has a bit more going on. Like the kind of downside of these higher roasted Hong Kong style teas while I still really love them, don't get me wrong, like those teas are why I wanted to see something similar on nannuoshan. But they're definitely a bit more one note compared to something like this. Oh my god, I shouldn't have shaken the guy one with almost boiling water in it. That was not a smart thing to do. that was not good. Okay. Sorry for that. Luckily the tea is decanted now. Let's just get into the second steep and enjoy this tea without any further accidents. So nice. Yeah, this is just really good. If you're somebody who likes roasty teas, maybe even if you have experience with these Hong Kong style teas I just talked about, give this one a try and let me know if your experience is similar to mine, where this kind of hits the same notes but adds a bit more around them. So good. Yeah. And if you're somebody who has been sort of reluctant to try higher roast Yan Cha, I think now is the time. I would highly recommend this to you. And if you try this and you find out, okay, it's not for me, then that's also totally fine. Like, if you try this particular tea that, in my mind, is really good and a really good example of high roast Yan Cha, and you end up finding out that it's just not for you, that's totally fine. But with a tea that's as good quality as this, I think you definitely don't need to be afraid or anything like that. Okay. Here's the last steep. I'm just going to enjoy this here on camera before I sign off from this video. Again, this is the high fire or 4-fire Da Hong Pao, a Wuyi Yan Cha, and a very good one at that. This tea, even more than most others, gets my seal of approval. If you get the chance, please give it a try and let me know what you think. I am Sigi. This was some high fire Da Hong Pao on the nannuoshan YouTube channel, and I wish you a wonderful day.